Hey, this is Danny Barker, realtor here in San Diego, also a nationwide veterans representative here for using your VA loan to build wealth. So I talk to hundreds of veterans that are buying real estate across the United States, and they are sharing their feelings, they're sharing their strategies. We're coming up with strategies and approaches to do stuff that is specific to their market, but also applicable in multiple markets, which is where I'm coming from today. So we have a downward trend of pricing pretty much throughout the United States right now, especially when you're talking about that middle class starter home, the middle class move up loan or home. So we're talking about those small 3-bedroom houses that are like 1,000 to 1,500 square feet. And we're talking about condominiums that are, I would say here in San Diego, a condominium that's less than $550,000. You're really feeling that pain right now. And really the 600,000 that you want 600, but it's probably going to sell for 550, 575. We're really hurting right now. So how do I price this? What do I do here? So there's really two main strategies, and a third that you can try, right? Let's go over three. There's three main strategies. One, let's price it high and do price reductions regularly, fast, and effectively. So we're talking about maybe your neighbor sold for 650,000. We think that it'll probably sell at 600,000, and everybody would love to buy it for 550,000. So let's go there. $650,000 price reduced by $5,000 every 4 days, every week, however you're going to do, until you find that somebody comes and looks at it, and then pause, and then call them. You want it? No? Oh, darn it. Go back to the seller. Okay, let's go another 5,000 and go back into our rhythm, right? And then pause. Do you want it? No? So in that way, you're going to end up going into escrow with the one buyer that is willing to pay an acceptable price for you, the seller, and we don't get to really vet them out, right? If they have a difficult loan, if they have to sell their property in order to buy this property, if they have to have special inspections and so on and so forth, if they're doing a loan program or like CalHAFA, right? There's an extra inspector involved. So there's all of these things to consider when you're choosing which buyer you want to go into escrow with, that you do not get to consider when you're at a high price and working your way down. Because what if this guy snags at 635 and you pass on them because they have to sell their property, and we don't want to trust that, and it could fall apart, and we could go into escrow and then out of escrow. That'll be painful, and that'll eat up a bunch of time. You say no to them, and then you go 630, 625, 620, and I call you and I'm like, hey, how about that 615? And they're like, Danny, we just had it sold at 635. Well, how are we at 615 already? It's like, well, we had that one buyer, right? You didn't like their conditions, so we passed on it. So here we are. The other way, next level down from that, is price it for $600,000 and wait. Don't manipulate the price. Don't go down by 5,000. Don't go down by a bunch of 5,000s. Do not act thirsty as the listing agent, right? Buyer see it. Hey, should I expect an offer? No. Okay, cool. Right? Some of those buyer's agents will come back to you and say, hey, my buyer does like the house at a lower price, right? And what do I tell them then? I don't argue. No, absolutely not. We'll argue later. Go back to your buyer and write the offer. So then they deliver a 575. Me and the sellers have, a meeting of the minds, and we now get to see their conditions and their terms, right? And maybe they have to sell their property in order to buy this one. And we'll say, hey, you know what? We're just going to stay at 600,000. You guys go ahead and put your house on the market because you mean it, right? You're real sellers, right? Because sometimes they don't mean it. And sometimes you'll accept that offer and they'll go to put their house on the market, and then they'll realize that they're not going to get the price that they're thinking that they're going to get if their agent is worth their salt. And then they end up not selling, waste of time. So we tell them, go put your house on the market. Let's see how it does, right? Before you enter into escrow over there, let's see how we're doing over here. And then also maybe you end up getting $25,000, $30,000 more for your house than you thought you would on your worst case scenario, because right now you're below our worst case scenario. So in order for us to set this below our worst case scenario, we would need to know that you're below your worst case scenario, and we would need to know that other people didn't show up. In the meantime, I might have the conversation with my seller and say, hey, look, that guy's at 680 or at 580, right? We're at 600. While he puts his house on the market, let's go ahead and reduce to 585. That way we can work inside of that range, 585 to 600. So that's a great place to be as well. We can work with that. And we can choose our buyers and not have to worry about just accepting their terms and conditions that they like. Now, the most aggressive way, 550. 550, you do open houses, you get a bunch of people in there, you knock on the doors of the neighbors, you send out a mailer to all the neighbors saying, hey, look at this, it's available for 550. Last one sold for 650 a year ago. Oh my gosh, what a deal. They call their kids, they call their cousins, they call their nephews. They're like, hey, nephew, weren't you going to buy a house? Hey, why didn't you buy? Oh, come over here, check this one out, right? Now we got 3, 4, 5, 6 people making an offer. Now we can say, oh, we really like this guy's terms and conditions. We really like this gal's terms and conditions. Let's see where these two tap out, right? So let's say we have 5 offers. Guy is number 1, gal is number 2, right? And we're like, hey, boom, 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 560, 575, 580, 585. Oh, 580. They're capped out at 580. Hey, number 3, we like your terms and conditions. We don't love them, but we like them, right? Are you willing to do 590? And then 590 it is. Boom, we're in escrow. That takes like 2 weeks. Sometimes only a week. Depends on how attractive it is, how fast you can do it, right? So that's the 3 pricing strategies. Above, wait for somebody and do your reductions. Wait for somebody to show up and take what you get. Don't throw a fit. Make that buyer work. Work with that buyer. Become a team with that buyer and make this deal work, right? That sounds like fun, actually, doesn't it? And then a $600,000 deal. Now, when somebody makes you an offer, then you accept it, or you consider it and you treat it accordingly. Then you got the 550 offer, or the 550 asking price. Do a bunch of open houses, get everybody in there, get everybody excited, get the juices flowing, leverage your favorite 2 up, ask numbers 3, 4, 5 if they'll do higher price. No, boom, you found your price 580, right? Now, could we have listed it for 580 and gone into escrow with our number 1 choice of buyer? Maybe. He was there, they were there, and they were acceptable at 580, but would they have even seen it? They came and seen it for 550, right? Would they paid 580? Well, not if they're the only ones making an offer. Maybe they would have started at 575. So I'll always be a fan of listing at 550, but here's the number 1 rule. Number 1 rule, and there's people breaking this rule all over the place. Do not offer the house for a price that the seller is not willing to pay. That's against the rules. We have a deal where we made an offer and this selling agent did not show our offer to the buyer or the seller until it was expired. We made the offer on Thursday. It expires Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It expires on Sunday. She presented it on Tuesday. And then no response. And she says, oh yeah, the seller rejected that offer, right? And I'm like, whoa, hold on. The house was for sale for 400. We offered 420 with 10 back, which feels like a 410. Did we get outperformed? Crickets, nothing, right? Now the listing is canceled. Now you're telling me that we made an offer above asking price and the listing is canceled? It didn't sell? What in the world happened there? Only the good Lord above, the seller, and the listing agent know that. But if I were to make my professional assumption here, it would be that they listed it at 400,000 using that best strategy. Us and anyone else may have shown up and didn't get to their price. Maybe they wanted 425, maybe they wanted 450, who knows, but they didn't get there. Now it's off the market and it's on the rental market. I can see it's for rent. All right, guys, hope you get some value out of this. I hope this helps you kind of digest what you're doing. The next video is going to be about what to do as a buyer when I'm feeling like I need a deal.